Welcome to Caching Waves. This is your Elliott Wave update for Bitcoin. I wanted to discuss my bullish scenario, and I will put on my bearish scenario as well. But I wanted to go in depth on this one a little bit deeper, just because a lot of the altcoins have potential bottoming patterns finishing up, and we could be getting higher highs on certain altcoins. And I wanted to show you how Bitcoin tends to move to the upside. You'll see this over and over and over again. And we could potentially have a bottom in place right now, even though we're not complete the correction. So in my bullish scenario here, where we're working on our third of the third and in the middle of our fourth, my buy box zone there was 36,331 and 39,720. And we've hit the top end of that range, just in the upper third area. So because we have an impulse on this micro time frame, I'll show you that shortly. We have to take a look of how that could pan out. So that's my bullish area. I'd expect us to hold this area. And worst case scenario, 36,331. Okay, let's go back to my bearish scenario, which is right here, and we've topped, and we'd actually expect to correct into the halving and hold this previous structure here. I'm not going to go too in depth about that right now, because a lot has to happen before there's a trade set up in that. So let's go back to the impulsive correction where we potentially have a fourth bottom in, even though we might be in the middle of the fourth. So I'm going to hop over to the Binance chart here, down on the 15-minute. So last time on the chart, I had this, and I mentioned I'd like to see one more high to consider this a impulse, which we got. So I'm going to update this in real time for you. So we potentially have either a most likely a diagonal because of the chop here. So we'd have, get rid of all this. That's so on the micro. So we either have A, B, C coming up for our B wave, because we have 5 waves there most likely. Or the fourth is in, which I think is unlikely at the moment, but I am open to that scenario where this becomes a 1-2 and we get extensions to the upside. So just keep that in mind, but I'd be targeting this area just because it moves the same direction, and we'd expect 5 waves as well. So we have 5 waves here, most likely as a diagonal. And the fibs play out as a diagonal, just past the 100, stopped at the 382. Ideally, I'd like to see the 236 and the 1.618, but it's perfectly valid as is. Let's zoom in and look at our fibs. Sorry, I should have had this done before, but I wanted to show you the update in real time. Okay, so that's what we have there. So I'm going to be taking this one long myself, not financial advice, just what I'm going to do. And for this one, my stop is actually going to go at the low. Most likely, depending on what structure we get here. We'll update that, but I'll be buying at the 382.50 and the 618, most likely stop at the low. And I want to show you again how Bitcoin can move correctively to the upside. And if you go back on the history of Bitcoin chart, you'll see these over and over and over again. It's like this. This is how we would move correctively, and how our fourth wave may not be complete, but the bottom can potentially be in. We came into our buy zone. And how that would actually look is exactly as you saw previously. So we put on our fibs from our A wave to the downside. That right on the pivots. Put on our expanded B wave area, which is up here between 51,812 and 53,653. You'll have to check your own exchange to verify those numbers yourself. And a little closer on linear. So what I would look for is this to move correctively to the upside in threes. This would become an A, B, C to the upside, and then we make a 1-to-1, 618 to 1-to-1 of that A wave. And this would actually be the end of our fourth wave, because it doesn't look like enough time has passed to consider that a fourth wave complete, but that's why I would want my stop at the low, because if we make an expanded B wave, that A wave should be protected. But this is for a long-term swing trade, not financial advice, just what I'm doing. And the other alternative, remember we're in our fourth wave, so we could just come up to the 618 and make a triangle as well. So I don't want to put my stop too tight when all these options are available. So this is what I'm looking for the upside. And it's I'm completely neutral right now to downside or upside. So if we are going downside in that WXY, I would expect us to stall out here at the 618, break this B wave with pretty hard aggression, get stopped out, and perhaps look for a short on the pullback. But it's obviously very important what's happening in this area. But the nice thing is we shouldn't end here. This looks like 5 waves, so we should at least get a 5-wave move to the upside, unless this is completely labeled incorrectly. But looks good to me at the moment. I'm going to be looking for that long myself, not financial advice, once again, but my average price will be somewhere around here. And I'll figure out my target based on what correction pans out, but obviously new highs. All right, guys, that's it for Bitcoin. If you want to get updates on this, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.